Good morning, distinguished delegates. Wonderful to see you here this morning. I just wanted to give you the order of consideration for the day and what the agenda will look like. First, we will discuss the consideration of updates on agenda item 6A, the report of the Credentials Committee. We'll give an update on the credentials received. It'll be followed by the consideration of updates on agenda item 4, the request for waiver, followed by the election of the council, following a brief on agenda item 23. We'll try and move that as quickly as possible. It's the big event. Then the appointment of the external auditor, followed by the appointment of the members of the Staff Pension Committee, agenda item 24. We'll then resume consideration of the report of the TCC. We've taken note of the speakers, the remaining speakers, and they'll be given an opportunity to speak, followed by consideration of item 15. So I invite the chair of the Credentials Committee, His Excellency Mr. Gianpaolo Bensai of San Marino, to present to the committee's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations on your election. Good morning to all the distinguished delegates. The Credential Committee was established in accordance with Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedures of the Assembly. It was composed of representatives of Brunei Darussalam, France, Panama, Qatar, and San Marino, and its report may be found in document A33/6A. The credentials of the delegation listed in paragraph 4 and 5 of the report were examined by the committee and were found to be in due and proper form. I should also note that, since the issuance of the report, the delegations of Kazakhstan, Nicaragua, and Vanuatu submitted a letter of credential, which are in due and proper form. Therefore, I am pleased to report that the credential delegation of 171 member states are in order. With regard to the credential of the member state listed in paragraph 6 of the report, these have not yet been received. Finally, with regard to the credential of the delegation of Myanmar, the Credential Committee decided to recommend to the IMO Assembly that it defer a decision on the question of the credential. All the copies of the credential submitted by delegation were accepted pursuant to Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedure of the Assembly. Therefore, the Assembly is recommended to accept the credential of 171 member states. To conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Credential Committee for their cooperation and their professionalism, and the External Relations Office for the precious support and for the amazing work they are carrying out in these very busy days. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the chair of the Credentials Committee for his presentation. I now invite comments, if any, on the report of the Credentials Committee. No comments. Thank you. I assume that the Assembly approves the recommendations of the Committee on the Credentials submitted by the Member States, notes that 171 Member States have submitted credentials in due and proper form, and accepts them. It is so decided. Distinguished delegates, I would like us to return to agenda item 4, and I would like to give the floor to the Secretary General.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you all. The agenda item 4 concerning the application of Article 61 of the IMO Convention and the right to vote was covered and discussed during the session of the Assembly on the 29th of November. I am pleased to inform the Assembly that since the discussion of this matter, the Republic of Benin and the Kingdom of Tonga no longer fall under the provision of Article 61 of the IMO Convention after clearing their arrears in full up to 2022. Following the consideration of the Assembly, I received written communications from the Gabonese Republic and the Republic of Congo dated 29 November 2023. The Gabonese Republic informed me that instruction has been given to each financial department to make the payment for each contribution and has requested to be allowed to participate in the election on 1st December 2023. The Republic of Congo informed and provided a copy of the transfer order issued for the payment of each contribution in relation to the application of Article 61 of the IMO Convention. The letters are attached in the Annex 1 and Annex 2 to document A33-4 Add 2, which is available in IMO doc. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Secretary General. I now invite members to comment on the information provided by the Secretary General and decide on the requests received by the Gabonese Republic and the Republic of Congo to be allowed to vote in the forthcoming IMO elections. I take it that with the information contained in the letter requests, it would seem that there is a consensus to waive the provisions of Article 61 of the IMO Convention in respect of the Gabonese Republic, and that there is a consensus to waive the provisions of Article 61 of the IMO Convention in respect to the Republic of Congo. The Assembly notes that the Republic of Benin and the Kingdom of Tonga no longer fall under the provisions of Article 61 of the IMO Convention after clearing their arrears in full up to 2022. The Assembly further notes that the remaining 6 member states, namely the Republic of Cameroon, the Republic of Guinea-Bissau, the Republic of Kiribati, the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, the Syrian Arab Republic, and the Republic of Zambia, which have not sought waiver, lose their right to vote during this Assembly. The right to vote will, of course, be reinstated as soon as the member states concerned settle their arrears. If there is no objection, it is so decided. I will now move on to Agenda Item 23, concerning the elections of the members of the Council. There are 3 documents under this agenda item. First, I will invite Ukraine to introduce document A33/23/2.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to raise a rhetorical question before the distinguished delegates. Can a state remain at the governing body of the UN specialized organization by openly disregarding the UN Charter and all generally accepted norms of international cooperation? The conventional basis of this organization threaten the international and regional peace and security, commit crime against humanity and weaponizing food. The answer is obvious. It can't. Relevant arguments were listed and the list of Russia's crimes are provided in the document presented by Ukraine for the consideration of this Assembly. And responding to the statement made by the Russian delegation yesterday, Ukraine wishes to underline that the civilized states protect their national interest by appealing to the international courts and tribunals, not waging the wars against the sovereign states, invading its country, killing dozens of thousands of people. As President Zelensky reiterated during his speech this Monday, anyone who tries to destroy the fundamental principles of navigation must be held accountable. The freedom of the seas is one of the key freedoms that allows humanity to advance, and we must defend it altogether. By banning the state that caused greater harm to free navigation, like no one did in recent decades, we will preserve the global trust in our organization. And taking this opportunity, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all 141 countries that in the first days of the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine supported the respective UN General Assembly resolution. We expect that in the same way, these countries will resolutely strike out Russia from the membership of the IMO Council. As the Assembly will soon hold the elections, we urge you to remain vigilant and choose wisely. Time has come for us to evolve from pure key workers to key leaders. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ukraine. In view of the fact that voting is the prerogative of each member state, if there are no further comments, we will proceed to the conduct of the election. I recognize Russia.
Thank you, President. And good morning to you. Good morning, Secretary General. Good morning, esteemed colleagues. First of all, I would like to thank all of those delegations who yesterday held the receptions at various times during the day and the evening. With regard to the document before us, first of all, our delegation would like to note that this document should not be considered at all at this point. I think that it's clear to everybody that at the 31st session of the Assembly, a resolution was adopted, 1136, which confirmed the leadership of the IMO with regard to the ethical conduct of election campaigns in the Council. In this guidance, the unacceptability of disseminating negative information about candidates to the Council was provided. And I would like once again to say that clearly, this document contradicts the guidance adopted not so long ago by our organization. President, once again, we have heard accusations unfounded against our country. A lot of words, but absolutely no evidence. So our delegation is not going to respond. Instead of that, I'd like to focus on something else, President. Have a look, ladies and gentlemen, at the current makeup of the Council, particularly in categories A and B. Is it fair? Does it correspond to fair geographic representation? And indeed the principle of equality of all states? It's clear that it doesn't. We do not see a balance between regions of the world as reflected in Council. So, President, our delegation always played and continues to play a balancing and constructive role in the work of the Council and the work of the organization as a whole. And we strive to develop IMO as a successful technical organization for the benefit of all its members. I'd like also to call on those here to vote in a way that means that we can talk about equal representation and equal access to for all countries and all groups. it's obvious that everybody would win from that, and the first to benefit would be our organisation as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Russia. Any other comments? No. Pursuant to Article 15D of the IMO Convention, the Assembly is required to elect the members of the Council for the 2-year period between the current and the next Assembly. The election is guided by the provisions of Article 17. Before we move to the elections, it is important that we are reminded of certain rules and procedures of the Assembly concerning the financial obligations of the members found in Rules 58 and 59. Rule 58 addresses the issue of loss of vote in specified bodies of the organization, including the Assembly, by members which have failed to discharge their financial obligations to the organization. We have already dealt with this issue under Agenda Item 4, when the Assembly decided to grant a waiver to the Congo, Gabon, the Islamic Republic, and Somalia. 6 member states which did not apply for a waiver fall under the provisions of Article 61. Namely Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Kiribati, Sao Tome and Principe, and the Syrian Arab Republic and Zambia. They have lost their right to vote at the election which is about to start. Rule 59 states that any member seeking election to the Council shall have discharged its obligations to the organization or shall have committed itself to at least 1 month before the Assembly to a schedule of payment submitted to the Secretary General, to do so and shall have complied with the terms and any previously agreed schedule of payment. Should any member not meet these terms, that member will not be eligible to seek election at the Assembly. All 45 candidates have met the requirements of Rule 59 by discharging their obligations to the organization. Furthermore, as reported by the Chair of the Credentials Committee, there are 171 member states at this Assembly with credentials in order. Of these, 3 countries are ineligible to vote due to the provisions of Article 61. Therefore, 168 member states are eligible to vote. I now invite the Secretary General to introduce the documents issued under this item and explain the procedure to be followed for the election of members of the Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. Document A3323, Rev. 2, provides relevant rules and criteria for Council members in each category and other information to assist the member state in their deliberations, including information on the composition of the Council throughout its history. Document A3323-1 and its annexes reproduce the communications received from governments of member states seeking election to the Council under the 3 categories specified in paragraph A, B, and C of Article 17 of the IMO Convention. Since the publication of document A3323-1, the Secretary General received communication from Jordan presented in the annex to document A3323-1 deferring its candidacy to the IMO Council in Category C for the 2024-25 term. I'm pleased to report now that all 45 member states that have indicated their intention to stand for election to the Council have met requirements of Rule 59 by discharging their obligations to the organization. Further, as I mentioned earlier, I'm pleased to inform 168 member states present are eligible to vote. Mr. President, the procedure to be followed for the election is set out in the Rule 31-43 of the Assembly's Rule of Procedures. The main provisions to be noted on elections are: 1. The election shall be decided by secret ballot, Rule 37. 2. The elections shall be conducted by ballot, held separately for each of three categories referred to Article 17 of the IMO Convention, Rule 42. 3. Each member has one vote for each ballot, Rule 33. 4. The elections are determined by a majority of the members other than the associated members present and voting, Rule 31-33. Members abstaining from voting or casting an invalid vote shall be considered as not voting. 5. On each ballot, the candidate who obtain the required majority and have the requisite number of votes to fill the available seat shall be declared elected. However, further restricted ballot will be held if either A, the number of candidates who obtain the requisite majority number of votes is less than the number of members to be elected, Rule 43, or B, 2 or more members obtain the same number of votes for the last seat or seats to be filled, Rule 40.5. 6. If after additional ballot a candidate still does not obtain the requisite majority, that candidate shall be declared not elected, Rule 43. 7. Where the number of members to be elected is not achieved after the ballots undertaken in accordance with Rule 40.3, the President shall call for additional candidates to fill the remaining places, provided that the principles laid down in the relevant part of Article 17 of the Convention are observed, and a new ballot for the candidate shall be put to a vote, Rule 40.4. 8. Candidates who are not elected under one category may be put forward under another category, provided that the principle laid down in the relevant part of Article 17 are observed, Rule 43. 9. The Secretariat shall prepare the voting papers. Candidates shall be listed in the alphabetical order of their names in the English, Rule 41.1. 10. A voting paper containing a greater number of votes than the number of candidates required to be elected shall be considered invalid. Any changes made to a voting paper will render it invalid, Rule 41.2. 11. A member casting a blank ballot into the ballot box shall be considered as not voting, Rule 33.2.1. And last, 2 scrutineers shall be appointed from among the delegation present on the proposal of the President. The scrutineers shall scrutinize the votes cast, Rule 38. As per the established practice, voting for a candidate listed on the voting paper will entail filling in completely with a black felt pen provided by the Secretariat the small rectangle contained in the vote column to the right of the name of that candidate, as indicated on the ballot paper. If a delegation makes a mistake when filling in the voting paper and wishes to obtain a replacement voting paper, that delegation should bring the spoiled voting paper to the President to be exchanged with a new one. And finally, I wish to draw attention to Resolution A 1025 on the implementation of paragraph C of Article 17 of the IMO Convention and A 1153-32 containing guidance on consistent application of Article 17 of IMO Convention, by which the Assembly desired to ensure that the criteria set out in Article 17 of the IMO Convention are met fully, and that through its composition, the Council is representative, balanced, diverse, efficient, and supportive of the interests of the entire membership. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Secretary General, for explaining the procedure to be followed. The Assembly notes that all candidates seeking election to the Council have met the requirements of Rule 59 and are therefore eligible to stand. I can also confirm that a majority of members of the organisation, other than associate members, are present at the meeting. Therefore, the required quorum has been obtained. I now propose that members of the delegations of Nigeria and Iceland be appointed to act as scrutineers, subject to the approval of the Assembly. I see no objections, therefore conclude that the Assembly approves the appointment of the members of the delegations of Nigeria and Iceland as scrutineers for the forthcoming election. In due course, I will invite them to come forward and help in the conduct of the elections. Before the Assembly proceeds to the vote, I would like to invite the Secretariat to show a short video on how to complete the ballot paper for voting.
Distinguished delegates, we will now show a short video on the procedures to follow to complete the ballot papers for voting at this election. To vote, you will need a ballot paper prepared by the Secretariat listing the names of all the candidate countries in English alphabetical order, as shown here. The Secretariat will provide one ballot paper per delegation entitled to vote. It will also provide each delegation with a black felt-tip pen with which to complete the ballot paper. In order to ensure that the electronic machine which counts the votes can accurately read the votes cast, delegations are kindly requested to only use the black felt-tip pen provided by the Secretariat to fill in the ballot paper. Voting on the ballot paper will entail filling in completely, with a felt-tip pen provided, the small rectangles contained in the column headed by vote, to the right of the names of the candidates that you would like to vote, as shown here. A ballot paper containing more votes than the number of candidates to be elected will be rendered invalid. Altering the ballot paper in any way will render it invalid. Likewise, marking the voting box in other ways, for example with a cross or a tick, may render the ballot paper invalid. If a delegation makes a mistake when filling in the ballot paper, a replacement ballot paper should be requested from the President of the Assembly. The President will exchange the spoiled ballot paper for a new one when the spoiled ballot paper is brought to him at the podium. The voting is conducted by secret ballot. We request that delegations do not fold the ballot papers in any way, as this may interfere with the electronic vote counting machine. Delegations will be allowed time to complete the ballot papers, after which a representative of the Secretary-General will call out the names of the countries entitled to vote in English alphabetical order. At that point, a representative of each delegation may proceed to the ballot box in front of the podium to deposit their ballot paper. To ensure that this process is conducted in an orderly manner, the representatives will approach the ballot box by the left-hand side of the room facing the podium, and leave the area by the right-hand side of the room as indicated in the diagram. Once the voting process is completed, the ballot box will be removed by the representative of the Secretariat, accompanied by the scrutineers for the counting of the votes. Once the counting is finalized, the results will be presented to the President of the Assembly, who will then pass them on to the Secretary-General to announce the outcome of the vote. 2 scrutineers will witness the process and oversee the electronic counting of votes. The scrutineers have been chosen from among member states that represent different geographical areas and are not standing as candidates at this election. At the conclusion of this video, please remain seated. The President of the Assembly will instruct the Secretariat to distribute the ballot papers and black felt-tip pens. Voting will commence soon after that. Thank you.
I now invite the Assembly to elect to the Council 10 states with the largest interest in providing international shipping services as provided for in paragraph A of Article 16 of the IMO Convention. I first invite any candidates under this category who wish to do so to make statements in connection with their candidature. It would be greatly appreciated if the statements are as short as possible, not exceeding 3 minutes, please. I will try and be quite rigorous with this and give you a warning soon after 3 minutes. There should be a timer in front of you to keep track of the time, and we need to keep this moving. We have a lot to do. I would now like to request the Secretariat to prepare a comment. Sorry. The names of those being elected, I apologize, are China, Greece, Italy, Japan, Liberia, Norway, Panama, the Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States. So I'd like to invite China to make a statement. If you wish. Okay. Please raise your cards if you wish to make a statement. I apologize for the confusion. Please raise your cards if you wish to make a statement. I'd like to invite Greece to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished delegates, it is a great honor and privilege to present the candidature of Greece seeking re-election as a member of the Category A of the IMO Council. The history of Greece is interlinked to the sea. Such link can be traced back to centuries. Herodotus first spoke during the 5th century BC about the importance of shipping, stating that we have land and home as long as we have ships and the sea. Shipping has emerged as a cornerstone of the economic and social development of the country. Today, Greek ship owners operate the largest fleet in the world, consisting of more than 5,100 ships of various categories, sailing under 32 flags. Greek ship owners control 21% of the global deadweight tonnage and around 60% of the EU fleet. They reliably serve the world's needs on mass maritime transportation, engaging mostly in industrial, energy and agricultural goods in the bulk transport sector. In this sense, Greek shipping is an essential enabler for the world economy to keep moving and growing. Our recipe for cost-effective transportation is based on the long-standing policy of free and fair competition in international maritime transport. The Assembly is a great opportunity to reaffirm our dedication to the IMO as the sole authoritative regulator of international shipping. Since becoming a member to the IMO, back in 1958, Greece has submitted well-documented and scientific-based working documents on a wide spectrum of issues, contributing significantly to all deliberations held within the IMO. Our efforts focus on striking the right balance, since regulation will only succeed if it is smart, fair, and target the real polluter while paying attention to the particularities of each shipping mode. Distinguished delegates, it is our firm belief that the re-election of Greece in Category A of the Council corresponds to our country's contribution to the world sea trade. It also corresponds to our strongest commitment and faithful support to the role and initiatives taken by the IMO in any relevant field. This will allow us to continue our efforts together with the other contracting governments to substantially contribute to the IMO work in the years to come. In this way, we will continue assisting the organization in meeting the expectations of the global maritime community and the world society at large. With this word, very humbly, we are kindly requesting your vote. Vote for Greece. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. I now invite Russia to make a statement. I would also like to just inform all the delegates speaking, the timer is not working. But Greece was brilliantly under time, so thank you very much. I will give you a warning at 3 minutes by just tapping the stop button. I apologize if that complicates anyone's speech, but it gives you extra incentive to be quick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know why the Russian Federation has to be on the Council. A balancing, constructive role is what our country contributes not just to this body, but to the organization as a whole. Our efforts are in line with the development of IMO as a successful technical operation for the good of all of its members. Our country consistently advocates strengthening the role of the organization. The Russian Federation takes a constructive approach to the continuing dialogue on all of the essential challenges facing not only the IMO, but the entire world. First of all, with regard to the effects of climate change. And that is why we have consistently worked for the necessity to adopt in the IMO balanced decisions, which are proportional to the share of the shipping industry and with regard to the emissions of greenhouse gases. And in full awareness of the critically important role of international shipping in supporting international global trade and the global economy as a whole, ensuring the provision and supply of essential goods to less developed countries and small island developing states. Significant attention has to be given by us to the technological improvements of shipping and the creation of international legal regulation for MAS, marine autonomous surface ships. We welcome the work of the IMO in this area, and we are willing to further become involved in it. We are one of the first to have begun experiments and adopt national legal rules in the area of MAS. And we've consistently informed members of the IMO about our experience and the outcomes. I'd also like to welcome the effort of member states to broaden the membership of the Council, taking into account the realities that the organization has to recognize in its work, including from the point of view of balanced geographical representation in the Council of the IMO. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia is willing to continue working in the IMO for the interests of all member states and the entire organization on all of the essential, fundamentally important issues for global shipping. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd now like to welcome the United States to make a statement.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President, Secretary General Lim, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and guests here today. Thank you for the opportunity to again address this Assembly. I have the honor to inform you that the government of the United States of America seeks re-election to Category A of the IMO Council. As a longstanding major port state, flag state, coastal state, and trading nation, the United States has consistently supported the IMO since 1950. We remain an active member in every IMO body, including the Council, and remain committed to the organization's key objectives through financial and technical support. Through this support, and if re-elected to the IMO Council, the United States will continue to contribute to IMO efforts to achieve safe, secure, efficient, sustainable, and environmentally sound shipping. The U.S. marine transportation system supports $5.4 trillion in economic activity each year and contributes to the employment of over 30 million people, placing it among the top 10 of exporters and importers of commercial merchandise worldwide. The United States credits our quality flag and port state programs as examples of our support and implementation of IMO instruments, which is critical as U.S. ports rank in the top 20 of the world's leading ports by total cargo volume. We also support the IMO's commitment to foster a global market and target standards that address key maritime issues, including cyber risk management, autonomous technology, maritime security, protection of the Arctic and Antarctic polar regions, air emissions, addressing greenhouse gas emissions from ships, mariner training and certification, and the implementation of the mandatory audit scheme. As an active member of Category A, since the IMO Convention was first ratified, the United States continues to be a staunch supporter of the IMO deals through regular and active participation in various committee, subcommittee, and working group meetings. Recognizing that the IMO offers the international maritime community a multilateral platform for holistic and harmonized standards using fiscally responsible and conservative budget, the United States continues to provide significant and effective in-kind contributions to the IMO, highlighted by our extensive support for training programs that welcome students from many nations. The United States is a leading contributor to the International Maritime Security Trust Fund, responsible for capacity building activities that contribute to the implementation of the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code and other similar security measures. Our longstanding commitment to IMO work and partnerships with other members, the United States supports the IMO's core objectives. If re-elected to Category A of the IMO Council, the United States will continue to promote a maritime infrastructure for shipping that is safe, secure, and environmentally sound. Thank you for the consideration of all member states. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I'd like to thank the delegates so far for being spot on time. Would like to recognize the Republic of Korea.
Thank you, Mr. President, Honorable President, Secretary General, Member States and Delegation. Good morning. I am Assistant Minister of Oceans and Fisheries of the Republic of Korea. Today, it is my honor and pleasure to represent the government of the Republic of Korea and address you regarding Korea's candidacy to the IMO Council under Category A. The Republic of Korea joined IMO in 1962 at a time when it was going through economic difficulty with a per capita GDP of only $120. However, over the past 60 years, thanks to continuous economic growth, we have transformed into a donor nation assisting many other countries. The shipping and the shipbuilding industries have been pivotal in our economic development. Significant efforts have been made to foster these industries as key growth engines. As a result, today we stand as one of the leading maritime countries. Throughout the journey, the Republic of Korea has been at the forefront of realizing the values and objectives of IMO. As done throughout the time on the IMO Council since 1991, we have shared our maritime expertise and know-how with member states, striving for collective prosperity. Since signing our MOU with IMO for technical cooperation in 2003, we have supported over 130 technical cooperation projects, contributing more than $10 million to enhance the capabilities of member states. The Republic of Korea has also financially supported the World Maritime University and the International Maritime Law Institute to nurture maritime experts from developing countries. Since 2016, through the Voyage Together Trust Fund, we have supported projects to promote mutual growth among member states. Since 2021, we have executed the Global Onboard Training Program for cadets from developing countries. Starting this year, in collaboration with the IMO, we are understanding 5 ODA projects, including efforts to bolster technical cooperation and support the participation of women in the maritime community. We will also actively engage in discussions and cooperation on key issues in IMO, such as decarbonization and digitalization. We aim to proactively propose and support cooperation projects for mutual prosperity among member states. Aligning with the global trends, the Republic of Korea has taken significant steps in maritime policy. In February, we announced the decarbonization strategy for international shipping and proposed the net zero by 2050 in international shipping as the first in Asia. During the Korea Maritime Week in June, we adopted the Seoul Declaration towards green shipping transition by 2050. Maritime technology development has been at the forefront of our efforts. For the early adoption of MAS, we are rapidly advancing in the development and demonstration of intelligent navigation systems and autonomous and remote control technologies. Throughout the demonstration of MAS in 2024, we aim to acquire autonomy level 3 technology by 2025. The Republic of Korea promises to remain dedicated to fostering safe and clean oceans, promoting peace and prosperity. We look forward to cooperating more closely with all member states. We kindly ask for your unwavering and resolute support. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder to keep, I know it's difficult without a clock, but if you can just keep an eye on how long we're speaking for. I'd now like to invite the United Kingdom to make a statement.
President, Your Excellencies, Secretary-General, distinguished delegates, it is my honour, on behalf of His Majesty's Government of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, to confirm that the United Kingdom is seeking re-election to the Council of the IMO in Category A under the provisions of Article 17A of the IMO Convention. The UK sincerely hopes that our candidature will be supported by you, the distinguished member states. While we are sure that you are all very much aware of how much the UK values its privilege as the IMO's host nation, you will also be aware that we firmly believe that this is in no way should guarantee the UK a seat on the Council. As an active member state of the IMO, the UK remains committed to the full support and promotion of the IMO as the primary organisation for the development of international maritime legislation and leadership. If we are re-elected, we will continue to maintain our active role in all aspects of the organisation's work at its Assembly, Council, the committees, their subsidiary bodies, as well as the intersessional meetings. The UK was one of the first nations to ratify the IMO Convention. Since its accession, the UK has been a stalwart member of the IMO in the promotion of safer lives, safer ships, cleaner seas. The UK recognises the speed in which technological advances are being made. The maritime sector continues to change and adapt with ever more innovative ideas. By 2050, the whole sector will have changed to something far more challenging in terms of safety standards, engineering standards, operating standards, and the maritime sector will need to be ready and receptive to a different operating mindset. The IMO has an important role in ensuring that any regulatory measures are robust enough to keep pace. We believe that the UK is well placed to play a leading role in this area, working closely with the IMO member states and industry to ensure that levels of safety, security and environmental protection are upheld. Being a maritime nation, the UK's active engagement in the important work of the IMO is testament to our unwavering pledge to support the IMO's objectives to achieve a future of safer and cleaner seas, as well as a continued sustainable progress for the global maritime community. This is a commitment that we will hold steadfast by continuing as an influential member of the Council and by maintaining an active role within the work of this organisation. Our pledge to seafarers is unwavering. I opened by reiterating the United Kingdom's pride in being the host government to the IMO and being able to promote the IMO as the leader for the development of effective international maritime regulations. It would be an honour to continue to do so by remaining as a member of the Council. We realise that to do so, we rely on your support of our candidature, and we humbly request that support. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to now welcome Norway to make a statement. I will give a ping as a warning before I interrupt going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. Norway has put forward its candidature for election to Council Category A. And since the middle of the 19th century, Norway has been one of the world's leading maritime nations. And currently, Norway ranks as the 10th largest shipping nation in terms of tonnage in the world, as controlled by Norwegian shipping companies. And the comprehensive Norwegian maritime cluster is at the forefront of the development of innovative solutions for the maritime sector, and is one of the leading global suppliers of green shipping and technological innovation, including solutions within digitalization and automation. And Norway has been an active member at all levels of the IMO since 1958. Excellencies and dear colleagues, as the Norwegian Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Policy said on Monday, the maritime sector is undergoing a transformation, and it is our collective task to master this change for our mutual benefit. Shipping must become smarter, greener and more efficient, and Norway will continue to be a constructive partner in this process. We are firmly dedicated to facilitate transfer of knowledge and technology solutions to developing states, and we have remained the largest contributor to IMO projects, which includes projects such as MAPSEA's Green Voyage 2050, Project Glow Litter Partnerships, Project Carib Smart, and the Single Window project in Antigua and Barbuda. And Norway is committed to continue to serve the organization in achieving its goals and missions, and in cooperation with all member states to address and find common solutions for the global challenges for the maritime sector. On this background, we ask for your continued trust and your vote today for Norway's candidacy in Category A. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement, and I'd like to now invite Panama.
Buenos días.
Good morning, Secretary General, President, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates. It's an honour for me to present Panama's candidature seeking re-election to the Council of the International Maritime Organization in Category A. The Republic of Panama has been a member of this organization since 1958, and since 2003 has been a Category A member of the IMO Council, actively participating in all of its bodies. Panama is a maritime country and is thus committed to complying with the objectives established by the organisation through ratifying the mandatory instruments and ensuring that the Panamanian merchant marine complies effectively with international regulations to ensure safety in navigation, protection of seafarers, security of shipping and prevention of marine pollution. For Panama, seafarers are the main factor for maritime trade, so our administration ensures compliance with their rights to ensure that workers on board Panamanian flagged ships and officers working on ships under other flags have the necessary qualifications established in various conventions. Panama strongly believes that to achieve results, we must work together, and therefore we welcome the memoranda of understanding with other administrations we've concluded for mutual recognitions of seafarer certificates in accordance with Regulation 110 of the STCW 78 Convention. We are very much in support of the 2023 agenda of the organisation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions coming from international shipping. Its adoption is a historic moment for the maritime industry and demonstrated the commitment of all member states of this organisation. The Panamanian Registry is setting a course for the technological era, which is why we've made significant progress in modernising our processes, creating modules for the issuance of electronic certificates, both for seafarers, our fleet, and users, in close compliance with the guidelines on safety and security for electronic certification of the IMO. We welcome the new maritime motto for 2024, Navigating the Future, Safety First. And we will continue to support taking appropriate technological measures that will facilitate and streamline international maritime traffic without losing sight of the safety, security, and prevention of pollution in our oceans. We reiterate our commitment to this organisation and its agenda. So we ask for the support of member states to re-elect us to category A of the Council, and we continue to work with all of you for the benefit of the maritime sector and our seafarers. Thank you very much, President.
Thank you. I would like to now invite Italy to make a statement.
Secretary General, Presidency, and distinguished delegates, it's a privilege for me to introduce our candidacy to Category A of the IMO Council. Italy, a country with a rich history, cultural heritage, and thriving maritime industry, stands as a beacon of maritime prowess. Our country is well known for its rich maritime history, robust maritime industry, and unwavering commitment to safety, sustainability, and innovation in the maritime sector. Italy's strategic location in the Mediterranean makes it a key player in international maritime affairs. Italy is a natural pier that juts out into the Mediterranean Sea and has been rescuing for decades thousands of people in need from all over the world, thanks to the work of our National Coast Guard. We are proud of this. With a long-standing tradition of excellence in shipbuilding, navigation, and maritime research, Italy brings invaluable expertise to the table. The nation has consistently demonstrated its dedication to upholding the highest standards in maritime safety and environmental protection. Italy's vision for the IMO is one of collaboration and inclusivity. The country is committed to working with other nations to address global challenges such as climate change, the safety of navigation, and the well-being of seafarers. Italy recognizes the interconnectedness of the maritime industry and understands the importance of fostering international cooperation for the benefit of all. Embracing innovation, the country actively promotes research and development to enhance the efficiency and sustainability of maritime operations. By electing Italy to the IMO Council, we ensure a forward-thinking approach that aligns with the evolving needs of the maritime industry in the 21st century. Italy is a maritime powerhouse. Our shipyards are renowned for crafting vessels that seamlessly blend cutting-edge technology with elegant design. Italian maritime engineering stands at the forefront of innovation, ensuring safety and sustainability in the ever-evolving industry. Furthermore, Italy's dedication to environment and sustainability is reflected in our initiatives to reduce maritime emissions and promote eco-friendly practices. From the adoption of cleaner fuels to the development of green technologies, Italy is at the forefront of ensuring a greener and more sustainable maritime future. The country is committed to the sustainable and responsible maritime practices align seamlessly with the IMO mission. In conclusion, Italy's maritime legacy is a testament to our dedication to the seas. and we extend an open invitation for partnerships that will propel us toward a future where the oceans are not only a source of prosperity, but also a shared responsibility. In conclusion, I urge each member state to support Italy's candidature to the IMO Council. Together, let us chart a course toward a safer, more sustainable, and a prosperous maritime future under Italy's capable representation in the category of the IMO Council. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to now invite Japan to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excellencies, Secretary General Lim, and distinguished delegates to the Assembly of the IMO. I would like to be very short and punctual to present Japan's candidacy to the Council member of IMO under Category A during the upcoming years of 2024 and 2025. Japan has been a part of IMO since its establishment in year 1958, having served on the Council throughout that time. As an island country intimately connected with ocean, Japan has been playing a permanent part in a variety of respects of the IMO. We have submitted various documents underpinning a range of safety and environmental measures developed by the IMO. Japan has been serving as chair and coordinator of several working groups, drafting groups, and correspondence groups. Furthermore, our contribution extends to human resource development for the future, such as scholarships by the Nippon Foundation to the World Maritime University for 36 years. I would like to emphasize that Japan reaffirms its strong commitment to the IMO and to the future of the oceanic and maritime affairs. As a Council member of the IMO under Category A, Japan will build on all those efforts it has been making and will further enhance its contribution to the activities of the IMO. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Japan. That was very punctual, very brief, a model for the rest of us. Thank you. I'd like to now invite Liberia to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. President, Secretary General, Excellencies. I would like to again introduce Liberia's candidature for IMO Council Category A. As the world's largest ship registry, Liberia has over and over again demonstrated its commitment to the vision of IMO, including harmonizing of the rules of international shipping and also participating very actively in the crafting of regulations to guide the industry. The global maritime sector is currently grappling with several critical challenges, including piracy, illegal fishing, armed robbery, and other such crimes in the Gulf of Guinea. As a preeminent flag, port, and coastal state, Liberia, when elected, will not just be representing itself, but an entire continent and an entire cohort of LDC countries. So I ask all the council members, given our critical position, to elect Liberia and grant geographic balance to IMO Council Category A. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Japan has really started a trend. That was excellent. Thank you. I'd like to invite Japan to make a statement. China to make a statement. Thank you.
Thank you, President. This delegation is aware at this moment, whatever we say may not change the position of the member states. However, in order to maintain cooperation and coordination with the other candidates, which is the custom of this organization, I'd like to make a brief statement. China is a vast ocean country with over 18,000 kilometers coastlines and 40,000 island coastlines. China is a major world shipping, port, shipbuilding, and seafarer country. Up to the end of 2022, China has 34 million gross tonnage of international shipping ports, near 140 ports opening to the international shipping, and around 670,000 seafarers. Chinese government highly values the maritime safety of navigation, marine environment protection, and as well as security. We are endeavoring to achieve the sustainable and healthy development of the shipping industry. As a major developing country, the Chinese government also highly attaches great importance to the support of the technical assistance to developing countries under the framework of IMO, and to help the developing countries to improve the safety and environmental protection level of the developing countries. We would, by these practical actions, to support the capacity building of developing countries. China has officially placed its candidature to the Category A of the Council member. If we are elected, China will continue to work with the member states of the organization to work together, to progress together, and make a greater contribution to the achievement of the fundamental goal of the organization, that is safer, cleaner shipping and efficient shipping on cleaner oceans. China sincerely hopes that all member states will support our election as Category A of this member state council member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China, and that concludes the statements. I would like to now request that the Secretariat to prepare and distribute the voting papers. I apologize. We have a comment from Bangladesh.
Mr. President, we want to make the statement for presenting our candidature. Is this the right time?
What's that?
She said there's an election. Should they be walking around?
People.
Yeah. So just a few ground rules on what to do next. The number of votes to be put on a voting paper may be up to 10. Any changes to a voting paper will render it invalid. The vote consists of filling in completely with the black felt tip pen provided by the Secretariat the small rectangle on the right of the name of the candidate for which the vote is cast. Delegations wishing to abstain should cast a blank ballot in the ballot box. If a delegation makes a mistake when filling in the voting paper, a replacement voting paper should be requested, in which case the delegation concerned should bring the spoiled voting paper to me, and I will exchange it for a new one. Some time will now be allowed for completion of the voting. Just a few notes. Please don't fold up your voting papers before submitting them. If you have done so, come and get a second one. And please give everyone, all the delegates, space to vote without looking over their shoulders. Thank you very much. I wish to inform the delegations that, in order to ensure the integrity of the secret ballot process and the confidentiality of your votes, no photography will be allowed in the plenary when voting takes place from now. Therefore, please do not come forward with cameras. Please do not take photographs when you or others are voting, including now. Thank you for your cooperation in this regard. To accommodate those who wish to have a photograph of your vote being deposited, an official from the Secretariat, Secretariat photographer will record the first round of voting. These photos will be examined by the Secretariat to ensure no votes are visible. The photos will be loaded to a Flickr gallery. The link can be found via QR code on the poster at the front of the hall. I now invite the scrutineers to come forward to help in the conduct of the elections. It's also useful if you keep your voting card to your chest so that it's not taken picture of. Mr. Hiroyuki Yamada, as the representative of the Secretary General, will call out members of the Assembly entitled to vote to place their voting papers in the box. The delegates will be called out in alphabetical order of the names of their countries in the English language. To avoid crowding in the voting area, delegates should approach the ballot box by the left-hand side of the room, facing the podium, and form an orderly queue with appropriate social distancing, whilst waiting for their turn to cast votes. Once they have cast their votes, delegates should leave the area by the right-hand side of the room. A diagram showing the crowd management is displayed on the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to all distinguished delegates. As instructed, I will call out the member states' name in alphabetical order. The first, Albania. Algeria, Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Armenia,